third-year quarterbacks this year, Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, have a bit of a coaching dilemma. Justin Herbert with Brandon Staley and Joe Burrow with Zach Taylor. Now, between these two quarterbacks, which one of these guys do you think is in a worse situation based on the talent and the coaching situation around them?
Oh, talent and coaching?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that changes. I thought this was just coaching. Because just coaching, I think it's
pretty easy.
I think it's Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor's not that good.
Zach Taylor just coaching. Because I have two different answers. If we're taking talent into it as well, I'm thinking Herbert's in the worst situation because Joe Burrow has a plethora of weapons. I mean, T. Higgins, Jamar, and Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd.
The only reason why I have a little bit of pushback there is because Mike Williams,
he's been solid.
And this is me, who's been very hypercritical of Mike Williams. He's been damn good.
He has been.
He's been damn good. Austin Eckler started the season not up to people's expectations, a lot of those people being fantasy owners. And he has been excellent these last couple.
Mike Will's just being Mike Will. 10 yards, 113, 15 yards, 120, but then 134
Facts.
back-to-back.
You know what? That's so well said. Mike Williams has been Mike Williams, but when he pops, he pops. And he's been popping.
Just like Gabriel Davis, right?
That was my comp. My comp was Mike
Their
Williams.
comp was like play style, though. They don't play the same.
They're both deep threats.
They play pretty
Both big body
similar.
defense.
I don't think they play the same.
They play pretty similar,
I think,
low-key.
yeah.
Mike Williams gets no separation. He just makes contested catches.
Does Gabe Davis get a ton of separation?
Gabe Davis, what do you mean? He beat two defenders over the top on that 98-yard
One guy
touchdown.
The second touchdown was he was
babied,
on his hip
yes.
and he just caught it one hand
and he babied
Yeah,
Minka.
no, but the first touchdown, he got past two defensive backs.
Yeah, the DP tripped.
He's a burner. He can get past
tripped.
defenses.
He is a burner. He is.
Mike Will can't.
DB tripped on the 90. You do know that. I'm not taking it away from him, but I'm just saying like the DB we didn't have 4 steps on him.
Well, you took it away from him when he was injured weeks 2 and 3, and you were trying to take a victory lap.
He was out week 2, weeks 3 and 4. He ran the most routes on the team.
Yeah, but he was still hurt.
He wasn't limited.
He was
at
still
all,
hurt though.
So you just kind of
He had 3 catches this past weekend.
3 catches, 171.
Yeah, it's Mike Williams. Like
2
touchdowns.
touchdowns.
You know what I mean?
No, we're talking. Oh, you're saying that's Mike
yeah.
Williams.
Yeah, you know.
Gabe Davis, bum ankle. He's healthy now. You saw
like if he was
first
out
drive
there,
of the game.
If he was out there playing 60% of snaps, I get it. He played the most snaps and the most routes on the team.
What's our
weeks 3
bet
and 4.
though this year? 1,000 yards.
1,000.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. I feel very.
I was gonna say he's gonna have 3 more games and then he'll go off for 150, 3 more. Like I'm ready. Like as long as I can take the victory laps, just like you take the victory laps, I'm gonna have more. Victory laps.
Let's be real though. 3 for 170, 2 touchdowns. This is a huge game, and this is huge for Gabe Davis supporters and agendas.
I know
you thought it was just one game. You thought it was just one game.
Like I get it. Like
he was hurt,
I already know Gabe Davis is gonna have 3 more of these games where he just goes fucking crazy, and he's gonna have 9 more games where he puts up 30 or less yards.
With Isaiah McKenzie potentially missing time because of the new concussion protocols, it's not crazy to say that he's going to get more looks his way. With Stephon Diggs drawing the attention that he draws,
Gabe Davis is going to have a good game against the Chiefs this weekend.
I believe that
also.
I mean,
probably they're going to have to score.
Guess what he had last game versus them?
I remember.
Oh, yeah, you do.
They lost. You picked them to win.
They should have.
Shoulda,
woulda, coulda.
Stop sleeping on Gabe Davis.
Get back at the statement at hand. Worst situation, Herbert with Staley or Burrow with Zach Taylor. I think the biggest issue for the Bengals, one of the reasons I was lower on them coming into this season, last year, you could say all you want how they were the short play offense. I get it. Jamar Chase was insane with the over-the-top balls. T. Higgins was getting that as well. And coming into this season, for one, I wasn't as high as Zach Taylor. I understand he got to the Super Bowl. I never thought that he was the franchise head coach to pair with your franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow. This season, we have seen defenses play a lot more cover 2, a lot more soft coverage on them. Just this past week, this from Arjun Menon on Twitter. He's a PFF intern. Ravens played 60% of their snaps in cover 2 for 6 and showed too high pre-snap on 71% of their defensive plays. The Ravens and a lot of the teams around the league are making the Bengals beat them underneath meticulous drives. This past game, 7-play touchdown drive, which is quick, with an 11-play field goal drive, 13-play touchdown. We have to remember last year it took the Chiefs multiple months to get over this look for their offense to first start going. And that was with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek and Kelsey. Now, don't get me wrong, the weapons are probably comparable, but Andy Reid compared to Zach Taylor, completely different spectrums in terms of coaching. Luckily for Zach Taylor, I think the talent on this offense is damn near too good to fail. With T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, those 2 outside weapons, it's going to be hard to suck forever, but I coming into the season, I did see regression for Joe Burrow, for Jamar Chase, because I didn't think these big plays were consistently going to happen like they did last season. Defense was playing them a lot differently. It's going to take them some time to get over it. They've had some moments like against the Jets. They had a really good game, but playing a divisional game against the Ravens came up a little bit short. So coaching-wise, I do think Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow is the worst situation, but having those weapons, I think Joe Burrow, puts himself in a little bit different conversation, although Herbert is the best in the NFL in terms of being pressured and not taking sacks. Well, Joe Burrow's on the opposite side. Maybe he's not the worst. He's not Matt Stafford, Matt Ryan levels, but he's, within that top 5-10 in terms of when he gets pressured, he goes down. I said it last year, got made fun of. It's cool. This year, we're seeing the same thing again, while Justin Herbert has some of the best pocket awareness in the game.
Herbert's been near flawless this season. With Keenan Allen missing basically every single game outside of week 1, he's had Mike Will, he's had Josh Palmer, and Austin Eckler, of course, and Gerald Everett, who's been a very nice surprise at the tight end position.
He's good. He's awesome.
Justin Herbert is just simply significantly better than Joe Burrow. With all due respect to Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert is just at a different level. Now, you mentioned it perfectly. Go ahead, King. I appreciate you letting me use it. You mentioned it perfectly. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd. There should be no world where Joe Burrow does not excel. Justin Herbert has a lot less right now and is still thriving, and has been very much better than Joe Burrow up until this point. The reason why I lean Herbert and Staley is because of Justin Herbert, and it's really that simple to me.
There's a brand new fantasy app. It's called Boom Fantasy. You got over-unders, player props. You got matchups. This player versus that player. That's personally my favorite, and long shots. You can win 40 times your money. And if I'm not mistaken, Joel, NBA is coming soon.
Yes, sir. NBA will be in the app in the next 10 days or so. I believe opening night is October 19th, so we'll have stuff up a few days beforehand. That's going to be fun because we have it every night. You don't have to wait till Monday, Thursday.
Did you get your code? For the League Pass?
I did get my code for League Pass.
I got my code too.
Yep, that's amazing.
That's from 2K, right?
Yes.
That's tough.
Amazing.
That's fire.
So if you guys haven't already, download the Boom Fantasy app right now. Link is in our description or in the caption wherever you're watching. The reason why Joe Burrow is struggling is because teams are playing cover 2 on them more, which is limiting the deep plays. And Zach Taylor is yet to adjust to that. The Bengals are one of the best teams in football against cover 1. But you can only get teams into cover 1 if they are trying to stop the run and there's more defenders in the box. The Bengals have not been able to run the ball this season at all. One of the worst rushing teams in the NFL. Against the Ravens, they showed signs. They were really good at running out of the shotgun, which I think is a good step for their offense moving forward. But I think both quarterbacks. I look at Justin Herbert with Brandon Staley, and I look at Joe Burrow with Zach Taylor, and I feel like they're both being held back. It's even worse with the Bengals because they have so much talent. But with Zach Taylor, it's bland offensive play calling, nothing creative, everything super simple. They're the last-ranked team in terms of run blocking offensive line, 23rd in pass protection. And the fact that you can have Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow, and be the 16th ranked offense in the NFL is embarrassing. And with Justin Herbert, their offense limits him because he can't throw down the field as often as he would like because they frankly don't have the offensive personnel. They don't have the receivers on the outside that can threaten defenses vertically. But then you look at the defense. Brandon Staley was a defensive guru. Right now, the Chargers defense is one of the worst against the run. Something that they were last season.
Yep.
Their defense has not improved significantly this season, although they added significant talent. And then you talk about Staley's over-aggressiveness. They were beating Cleveland. Staley goes for on 4th and 2. Cleveland had 0 timeouts left. If you punt it, you pin them back. You're up 2 points. You go for it. You now give the Browns the ball at their own 40-yard line. With 1:14 left. They're lucky their defense got a stop there, but that could have been a catastrophe. Brandon Staley is too aggressive at times and uses analytics too much. And I'm a fan of analytics. But there are just some times where it's just common sense. Just punt it, pin them back. They have 0 timeouts left. You have 1 minute and 14 seconds left on the clock. If you protect the sidelines and the out-of-bounds throws and you tackle a player in bounds, that's chewing at least 20-plus seconds off the clock. Play defense if you trust your defense. You're a defensive coach. Play defense. With Herbert, I do feel like he's getting held back. And it's crazy because right now the Chargers have the 8th-ranked offense in the NFL. And the Bengals are the 16th-ranked offense in the NFL. Herbert is doing more with less. And the personnel does not stack up to the Bengals. I feel like Herbert is making these coaches look better than they are. I had questions about Joe Lombardi when he first got hired as the OC because in New Orleans with Drew Brees, it was a bunch of dink and dunk stuff, and he's bringing that over to the Chargers with Justin Herbert. Air yards per attempt, least aggressive quarterbacks in the NFL. Number 1 is Daniel Jones. Number 2, Kirk Cousins. Number 3, Kyler Murray. Number 4, Matt Ryan. Number 5, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert should not be in this top 5, but I do understand it's because of a lack of personnel as well, and that's why I feel like they in free agency this year, the draft, they should focus on getting these speedsters at receiver like the Ravens have. Rashad Bateman, Duvernay. Although they aren't great receivers, they do threaten defenses vertically.
Chiefs did that with MVS.
Exactly. And that's how I feel about Herbert and Burrow. I feel like they're both being held back. I feel like with Joe Burrow, it's more egregious because Zach Taylor has so much to work with offensively. And given what they brought in the offseason on the offensive line, this should be a much improved unit. The fact that it's not, I think, it points to you have to point to the coaching that they're not coaching up these offensive linemen correctly, because it doesn't matter who it is. A first-round pick in Jonah Williams, a guy who was known as a top right tackle in La'el Collins. They're just not getting the best out of these guys at all. It's just bad right now.
That gap between Herbert and Burrow, it's growing by the day.
I mean, if you knew, you knew.
No.
Also, did you guys see Zach Taylor and La'el get into a little bit of a scuff on Sunday?
I didn't see it.
So La'el is coming off the field and Zach's trying to get his attention, but La'el's kind of just like trying to brush him off to the side, and Zach's like adamant. Talk to me. Has to really pull him aside. I was wondering if you guys had saw it to maybe further give me something, but I'll look into it and let you guys know.
Yeah, I didn't see it.